Thank you, Sabrina. What a great turnout. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sherry. Thank you all for being here. So last week, I visited a longtime friend at Scotiabank. Her name is Judith. She's also one of my mentors. We were catching up, and she asked, "So Sherry, do you miss the bank work? How did you end up doing this iDC thing? Have you ever regretted your decision?" So many of the guests sitting here have known me for years. So you may know I was enjoying a very rewarding HR career with two top Canadian banks, BMO and Scotia. I also had a great opportunity to help build out BMO's Asia strategy in Hong Kong as their HR head. But a lot of you don't know is I had a lot of struggles and challenges when I was pursuing my HR career in Canada as an international student. I landed in Canada in this bloody winter of year 2000. And I reached to my only friend I know for job advice. He asked me, "Sherry, what do you want to do?" And I said, "I think I like HR. Maybe I will get a job in a bank or HR job in a bank." And immediately, his face turned like this. He said, "What the heck is HR? Are you not good at numbers?" As we talk more, I started to understand where he was coming from. Back then, almost all the newcomers from China were doing something related to IT, accounting, or finance. That's 2000 year, not HR. So I feel very depressed. I even thought of moving back to China. I was pretty good at numbers, but I didn't want to look for a job in accounting or finance. I've decided going back to school. I figured, hey, if I like HR, I got to learn more about it. So at the second year of my MBA, specializing in HR, I already knew I loved HR. And I was passionate about working in HR with a Canadian bank, ideally capital markets. So I felt like, I knew what I wanted. All it would take to land my dream job was a perfect resume. So I made an appointment with Natalie. She's our wonderful career counselor at school. So Natalie was very nice. She listened to my aspiration, polished up my resume, and praised my persistence in searching for passion over the years. In the end, Natalie said to me very gently, she said, "Sherry, I'm not trying to discourage you. Have you ever thought about becoming a banker before you becoming an HR in a bank?" I was very shocked by that question and asked her why. She shared the cold fact afterward. She told me, "There are not many HR postings on campus. So how can you find a job if there's no posting?" So that day I went home. I did my own research. It turned out Natalie had been very, very kind. I found there had been 0 HR posting for 3 years at Schulich on our campus. And look at the 0, period. Apparently, with an MBA, passion, and a perfect resume, it's still not easy to pursue an HR career in Canada. But determined, I went back to see Natalie. I told Natalie, I said, "Natalie, if I insist doing HR instead of finance, do I still have a chance? What shall I do to get there?" So the magic word and the advice I got from Natalie was networking. And that's what I did. I started actively networking. I reached out to almost everyone I know whom I know are HR in Canada. I become very vocal about becoming an HR with a bank and why I want to do this. And at one point, I remember I even sent an email to the president of Canadian HR Professional Association seeking her advice. That networking process was very, very uncomfortable and tiring. But the support I got was just unbelievable. So I found a few mentors. I received an enormous amount of career advice. And best of all, I never felt there was an obstacle to fit in. So on the last day of my school at Schulich, I received this call from my mentor. She told me, Scotiabank Capital Market HR is hiring. She passed along my resume. I had 6 interviews. And 1 month later, I started my first job with the most competitive HR team at Scotia Capital. At that time, is the capital market division of Scotiabank. I couldn't even believe this. So I was thinking, what was the magic? I thought networking was important. This experience totally changed my perspective. Actually, what's really powerful and what really makes a huge difference behind the networking is passion. As long as you can demonstrate your passion, people are more than willing to share with you their knowledge, experience, insight, regardless of their titles, backgrounds, and seniority. And the perspective I gained from that unforgettable job searching experience inspired me to start coaching students in my spare time myself. So over the years, I coached more than 100 students in my spare time. And it couldn't be more rewarding because I'm so inspired when I see the young students who lost their confidence in job searching, started to believe in the power of the passion in their career, and eventually achieve the goals they were told impossible. Although I was coaching many students, I know there are many other students are still struggling. Some of them don't even know how to start a career. So many times I was chatting with my husband, shall I fully dedicate myself to this? The answer wasn't clear until last year when my girlfriend talked me into a skydiving in Switzerland. So look at these pictures. That was me skydiving in Switzerland. You can tell how scared I was. But the minute I landed, I realized the fears I had in the beginning were nothing compared to the beautiful scenes I saw in the air. I'm so glad I did it. That leap led to another, and a few months later, I founded iDriveCareer, iDC. So what I'm saying here is not that you need to skydive to do a career switch. What I'm really saying here is a lot of time we cannot tap into our potentials until we step out of our comfort zones. So by now, you may have figured my answer to the Judas question at the beginning of speech. I don't regret. I'm very happy I did it, and I'm very happy I made it so far. So, since I founded iDC, I've heard many voices. Positive, doubts, and even threats. Seriously, threats. But with today's full house, I'm very excited. We can all witness a shared passion. That's very powerful. I believe it is the shared passion that will eventually give us the strength to create a meaningful impact on the career of the younger generation. I've told you many stories. I want to share one more. So last weekend, I received a note, an email from my student who just passed a probation at work. His name is Tony. That's what he wrote to me. He said, it's like yesterday we had hundreds of calls to get me prepared. Whenever I record that, I feel grateful. Things you told me give me so much help and instruction in my work. You, iDC, has done more than just helping me find a job. So many times when I receive a note like this, I was speechless, feeling like the moment when I landed from the skydiving. So with iDC's help, I believe there will be more and more students like this in the future. So, dear mentor and guest, I owe you a big thank you and favor. I know you said, as my friend, you have no choice but to come. But I know you are here because you want to join me to inspire the career of the younger generation with your passion. And you are their role models. And my dear students, I'm very proud of you. The fact you are here on a Saturday afternoon shows you care about your career and you want to drive your career forward. Trust me when I tell you what will set you apart in the future. It's more than your transcript, your school, your degree. It will be your passion and your drive to succeed. So don't stop searching for your passion and driving your own career. Thank you. Thank you.